Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
And the Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles? Let me get a hell yeah!
Happy game day, guys. It is Dives, Mr. Crackpot on Twitter. Welcome to Party on Broad. Party on Broad can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Make sure you subscribe to the Painted Lions YouTube channel. Today, we are previewing the Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia Eagles, going down in roughly less than 3 hours. Joining me today is my man, Brian. Follow him on his channel, The Joe Show. What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, follow my YouTube channel, The Joe Show. I am doing a giveaway, 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm giving out a PS5 or an NFL jersey of your choice, whatever your favorite team is. So please come over and subscribe to The Joe Show.
Make sure you check that out. And also on the other side from Dallas, we have my man, Vinny Volts on Twitter, representing the Dallas Cowboys. How you doing, Vinny?
I'm doing well. It's actually sunny here in Dallas, unlike in Philadelphia, just probably because it's a better city. But we're feeling good. I was on the podcast earlier this week. I was pretty down on the Cowboys, but that has since changed. Because now we're 3 hours away from kick.
Love it. This must be the sun because it is like cold, dreary, and cloudy. It's been brutal over here. But today we are talking about the keys to the Eagles offense, the keys to the Eagles defense. We're going to pick our stars of the game, and we're going to get to our game predictions. I'll lead us off. Let's talk about the Eagles' keys to winning this game. I'm going to say establish the run game. Dallas has been shredded on the ground this season. The Cowboys have given up 100 yards in 6 of 7 games. You look at this, man. Dallas has allowed 150 yards and 2 touchdowns versus the Rams. They gave up 113 yards versus Atlanta, 117 versus Seattle, 307 and 3 scores to the Cleveland Browns. They did well against the Giants. They got murdered by the Cardinals, 261 yards and 3 scores, and they just got slashed by the Washington football team for 208 yards and a score. The Cowboys defense is last in the NFL, allowing 178 yards per game on the ground through 7 weeks. The Cowboys run defense has allowed 200 on the ground in 3 of the last 4 games. Miles Sanders is not going to play today, but does it really matter is kind of the point. My grandmother would dominate that that Cowboys defense. If the Eagles can control the line of scrimmage, this should be a pretty easy win for the Eagles. All signs point to Boston Scott just being the man tonight. You look at Boston Scott in 3 games where Boston Scott has touched 15 times. Eagles are 3-0. Boston Scott has 358 total yards and 5 touchdowns each time he's touched the ball 15 times or more. I just see this being the Boston Scott game. Go ahead, Joe Show. What's a key to the Eagles offense today?
No, I agree with you. I think the run game. I think obviously through the first 7 games of the season, the Eagles run game, they're averaging about 12 to 13 rushing or 12 to 13 attempts per game rushing. So you got run the ball about 20 times in this game with Cowboys defense that horrible. But yeah, run the ball and also convert on third downs. They're about 43% on third downs this year. So improve that and control the clock, and it'll look good for you.
I like the fundamental approach there, Brian, because another area the Eagles need to prove on is red zone offense, and they have been struggling there. Vinny Volts, go ahead, man.
So keys to the Cowboys offense here.
Yep.
So the main man tonight, Gucci DiNucci, also known as Nucci Mane, he's gonna have a big day. Vegas is hanging like over 214 yards in the air. I mean, he's gonna have to throw for 300, and the floor is very low. I saw like a stat where it's like, oh, like a QB, like 7th round pick, like they all stink whenever they start. So like, I don't know. We have nothing to lose. You might as well just sling it. Like, I don't want Zeke touching the ball on first downs. Like that doesn't win you games. Running on first down does not win you games. So like, you might as well just let Gucci DiNucci throw it and just hope for the best.
You want to say something, Brian?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I think Randy Moss. I can't remember what show it was, but Randy Moss was saying that he's concerned with DiNucci starting. I'm like, well, who else do you have? Who else are you going to start at QB that's any better? So I don't know. I just think I'm kind of concerned for DiNucci tonight.
Yeah, I guess we do have some of our O lines back. Zach Martin's playing tonight. Can that help? I'm sure. We just I don't really know. It's just no Zeke. Just let DiNucci throw. Who cares? That's all I want.
Is that an advantage? Because you see the inconsistency for the Eagles on both sides of the ball. The Dallas Cowboys come into Philly playing with house money. Is that an advantage for the Cowboys, actually? Any thoughts on that, Vinny Volts?
If the scheme is like if the scheme is lending itself to like kind of just going all out, who cares? Like, yeah. But if I see like the first couple plays and we're running it to Zeke or doing Zeke screens, okay. I know we're toast.
Okay.
That's just so. I mean, I think we do have the advantage, kind of in that sense, kind of just mentally. Like, all right, we have nothing to lose. Like, we could embarrass the Eagles on Sunday night. Like, that would be laugh out loud funny if the Eagles lost tonight, and that would be you guys would be on Monday morning freaking out.
The Eagles that has been the Eagles' MO. Like, that is definite, possible to happen, that the Eagles get down like 21-0 at the start of the second quarter all of a sudden, and it's almost just panic mode. So that's definitely in the cards. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. You think that, we're going to talk about game predictions, but all signs point to the Eagles in a blowout here. This is Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz we're talking about. Every time the game plan kind of just presents itself, they have that attitude, the smartest person in the room. It starts at the top with Howie Roseman, and they just do the exact opposite, where you would think Miles Sanders would just run through this team. And I think that game he only had like 10, 12 carries. So anyway, let's move on to my next key to the Eagles offense. And I'm talking about the 1-2 punch of Travis Fulgham and Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor has been medically cleared to return from a UCL tear in his thumb. Jalen Reagor has been bothered by some nicks and bruises this season, and that all started week 1 when he tried to tackle someone on an interception return versus the Washington football team. Jalen Reagor has missed the last 5 games. He has 5 receptions for 96 yards this season. Guys, I can't explain how incredibly I'm excited to see the Jalen Reagor and Travis Fulgham and how that's going to look on offense tonight. Among 95 wide receivers who have run at least 100 routes, Travis Fulgham ranks 8th in yards per route run. He's the only NFL player with at least 350 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns over the last 4 weeks. He has the 3rd most receiving yards in that stretch, only behind George Kittle and Robbie Anderson. Holy shit balls. The Cowboys have allowed 12 receiving touchdowns to wide receivers this season, tied for the NFL most. I continue to be a huge believer in Jalen Reagor, and Travis Fulgham has been sensational. As a lover of watching young kids develop, I don't know if you guys know, but I run the Blue Root TPL. Like, that is my passion, the college game to the pro game, that transition and watching kids develop. I just can't wait to see these two together. Brian, any other keys to the Eagles victory?
Yeah, don't forget about Greg Ward. Greg Ward, he has 3 touchdowns along with Fulgham. They both have 3 receiving touchdowns for the season so far. And obviously Fulgham has more receiving yards, 357 compared to Ward, 233. Fulgham compared to Ward. And obviously you have Reagor. He's been injured, but I think with this team, they're going to run the ball, and then that will open up to the deep passes down the field. I think this is a game where you got to throw deep down the field. You got your best receivers in the game. Throw it down the field, give them a chance to play their hearts out and see what they can do.
Love the Greg Ward nod. Vinny Volts, if it's 3rd down, 3rd and 5, 3rd and long, watch my man Greg Ward. I'm telling you right now, the ball's going to Greg Ward. He has the best chemistry with Carson Wentz on offense. Make sure you watch that. We have a comment. Ty Book, what up, Ty? He says, if Schwartz's defense lets this be a game, I will be so frustrated. Having an actual receiver core today is a nice touch. That Travis Fulgham has been a godsend. Vinny Boss, any other keys to the Dallas Cowboys offense today?
Yeah, you're talking about your rookie receiver, Jalen Reagor. It's going to be essential for CeeDee Lamb to be cooking. He had a really bad game against the Washington football team, and he was like, oh, this is like the worst game I've ever played, all this and all that. So a big bounce back game potentially for him. So, yeah, like the CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Reagor we're talking off air, it's going to be awesome to watch and see who's, CeeDee's going to be doing well. Dallas Goedert back. I was going to mention I guess maybe on the defense too. So you have Reagor. I'm interested to see if Diggs is covering Reagor all night or if he's going to be guarding Fulgham. He's our best defensive player. So we'll see, I guess early on in the game, we'll see where he switches or moves around. But that's going to be an interesting matchup, Reagor/Fulgham versus Diggs.
I got to ask you, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it during the preview show on Tuesday night. But what was your reaction when the Dallas Cowboys took CeeDee Lamb? And what, do you have any idea how big of a slap in the face that was for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, I immediately texted my Eagles group chat and was like, "That's you guys. We're gonna be I put in Cowboys futures, Dak Prescott MVP. I was just unloading on all Cowboys stuff because it was looking good.
But that makes us tell you this. I think that's where with the Cowboys, the issue I don't think is with the players. I don't think it's with the coaches. I think it starts with Jerry Jones. You go through the draft and you're picking a receiver just because you want to you don't want the Eagles to get it. So no. I think it starts with him. I think the Cowboys fans are tired of him, and I think they just want to change with that. So.
Yeah, everyone's really excited about CeeDee Lamb. It's just the Joneses messed up by not signing Dak long term, giving up $1 billion to Jalen Smith. That guy stinks. Letting Byron Jones walk. He had a good play today. Third down pass breakup, and they scored a touchdown right after. The Dolphins did. So,
do you see Dak Prescott coming back next year?
Oh yeah. Minimum. Yeah, he has another opportunity for a franchise tag.
Yeah.
So
that was my question, because the franchise tag is probably going to be anywhere between 25, 30 something $million. And I'm wondering, do you think the Cowboys are going to want to spend that much money when they can just get another QB or draft a QB? Say that.
Well, the success rate of number one overall quarterbacks in the draft is a lot lower than actually having. I mean, Dak Prescott's a top 5 quarterback in the league. I wouldn't really want to get rid of him there and save cap there. I mean, quarterback's the most important position. They add the most points. So, we already have our guy. Might as well sign him long term, give him all the money in the world. But Stephen Jones is being annoying and doesn't want to do it for some unknown reason. So,
yeah. All right. Speaking of quarterbacks, my last key to the Eagles offense is the continued improvement of Carson Wentz. After throwing 9 interceptions in the first 5 games, Carson Wentz has only just won in 83 attempts during the last 2 games. For the 3rd straight game, Carson Wentz has thrown 2 touchdown passes in the win versus the Giants, like we saw, both coming in really the final 5 minutes. And this is Carson Wentz's longest string of games with 2 or more touchdowns with 7 since 2017. And guys, 2017 was a pretty good season. I know he's had his struggles, but it's getting better and better. Carson is absolutely improving. So there's definitely hope on the horizon. You've got Jalen Reagor back. You've got Dallas Goedert back. Dallas's defense has been awful. Like we said, they just traded away Griffin. So that thins their pass rush group. You talk about Carson Wentz being on his back. This is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. He's been on the run and basically needing to play hero ball pretty much the last, 6-7 games. So all signs point to hopefully an efficient game for Carson Wentz, something we really haven't seen yet this year. I'm thinking 200 yards in the air for Carson, couple scores, one on the air, one in the ground. But let's go on to the keys to the Eagles defense. My number one key is who the heck is Ben DiNucci? This guy has 12 snaps. This guy's played 12 snaps. He's been involved on 3 series. He was sacked 3 times. He fumbled twice. He was 1-3 and had a 32-yard completion to Amari Cooper. Who the hell is this guy? You look at the Cowboys offense, they've only scored 13 total points since Dak Prescott went down. The O-line has allowed 6 sacks, 8 quarterback hits versus the Washington football team. Meanwhile, the Eagles defense ranks third in the league in sacks behind Brandon Graham is just balling out. This guy is playing the best football of his career. The Cowboys are bottom 3rd in the league in yards per game, yards per rush attempt, and sacks allowed. They're also among the worst in penalties per game and have the worst turnover margin in the NFL. So the Eagles' defensive line has a real chance to put a hurting on Ben DiNucci today, force some turnovers, make a statement, finally kind of get out of that rut that the Eagles' defense has been. Even though the Eagles have been winning, it's not on the Eagles' defense. It's been pretty meh. What about – let's go right to you, Vinny Valtz. What's a key to the Cowboys' defense?
So you guys were talking about how the Eagles really need to be running the ball on the Cowboys because the Cowboys stink at stopping the run. So my biggest key is stopping the run, obviously, but I want those 3rd and longs for Carson Wentz. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. He is a average quarterback, and he cannot throw accurately in these deep situations. He is just not like that good. And so getting in these 3rd and longs, we actually may have a chance for a couple stops.
Hold on. But can I just remind you that when Carson Wentz was in MVP form, he was going to be the MVP if he didn't get hurt in 2017. His completion percentage was like 50, just barely like 50%. So let's throw that stat out.
Well, I mean, he just like doesn't. His mechanics are. I don't know. It's something about Carson Wentz.
You're right.
You're
right. You're absolutely right.
But like he is his EPA against the Giants was like negative for like 3 quarters, and Danny Dimes outplayed him. He added more points. He had the good run.
That's where contact is super
Carson
important.
Wentz is iffy.
You have so do you watch the Eagles games? I don't watch Dallas games, so be truthful. So
I do watch Eagles games, and I laugh
do?
whenever I see Carson Wentz throw a bad throw, and I text my friends like, "Wow, this guy stinks."
You're right on the mechanics. The footwork, the mechanics can get really sloppy. We've seen that kind of get worse and worse over these last 2 years because the offensive line has gotten worse and worse. The play calling has gotten worse and worse under Doug Peterson. But if you there's no way you can watch the game, especially last week. Is Carson Wentz perfect? Absolutely not. This guy has major flaws. But this guy literally has put in the team on his back when they are dead to rights. The Eagles are just in the bare bones right now, and Carson had to do it on his show, put the team on his shoulders, and he came through again and again and again. There's no way you can say just look at the box score, judge Carson Wentz. You have to watch the game, see what's happening in the game. Any response on that, Brian?
No, honestly, I was actually going to just give you my feedback on what I think is most important for the defense is defensive line. It really starts with Fletcher Cox, and we haven't really seen him. He only has 1.5 sacks so far this season. Obviously, Brandon Graham has 6, and Nathan Gary has 1 sack. So to me, I'm just more concerned about that. I think you pay all this money for Fletcher Cox, and he's not producing each year for the past couple years. So I want to see the defensive line improve and pressure DiNucci.
Yeah, we have my man Ty says the last couple games have showed Dak's value, but dude is not top 5. He has weapons for days. The one thing I will say, I mean, I don't blame you for loving Dak. It's the same reason why we love Carson. I get it. The only thing I'll say that both have in comparison in terms of similarities is these guys don't win the big game, and they're not winning it when it matters. They're not on the field when it matters. When's the last time Dallas has done anything? And that goes for Carson too. Carson's, whether it's a big game in the playoffs, he gets hurt. That's not his fault. That's absolutely not his fault. But that is. Go ahead, Vinny Valtz.
Well, yeah. I mean, Dak has the highest winning percentage since 2016, behind like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, he can win some games. He's won a playoff game before. Big improvement from Tony Romo. He already has a playoff win. So that was kind of a joke, but he like it's like not his problem that he's losing these games. He adds so much value. His EPA is like always 20. He's always doing these comebacks, just absurd. Like, it's not like his fault that like Zeke's fumbling. It's not his fault the defense stinks. It's not his fault our punter can't punt over 40 yards. Like, I don't know. Dak is a superstar, and he is a top 5 quarterback for sure. For sure.
Dak Prescott has 2 wins in 8 games against teams with 500 win record or better. Dak Prescott.
Now, do you think the Cowboys should start focusing on building the team around Zeke instead of Dak?
I hope they don't, because that's a bad decision. That's a bad move. It's a bad move.
I like it. I think it's good.
Like one thing with the Joneses again, like they signed Zeke to this mega deal, and it's proven that these running backs like don't really create the winning value that the quarterbacks do. Like Christian McCaffrey is like easily replaceable. Mike Davis was playing so well, and they were 3-3 or whatever. Melvin Gordon, this Chargers guy, they can just easily replace him with Eckler. Like it's always about like just finding that guy you can replace for low money.
Yeah.
Boston Scott, he is really good. He is a lot cheaper than Miles Sanders. So like, why not? Like, I don't know when Sanders is going to get paid or whatever have you. I'm not really too engulfed in that, but like, why pay that much for someone who could easily do the same thing week after week?
Yep. You can't put that much money in that position anymore. It's just a dinosaur. You just don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to where, like, with the draft pick of CeeDee Lamb, do you think, obviously Cowboys should have just gone defensively with that instead of getting CeeDee Lamb? I think that was just their statement, like, hey, you know what, Eagles, we're getting CeeDee Lamb, we're taking away your draft pick, instead of focusing on, hey, what do we really need, And if I was a Cowboys fan, I would be upset about that.
Nah, man, I disagree with that wholeheartedly, respectfully. In the first round, you always take the best player available, the player with the highest ceiling. That's just my opinion. That in that first round, you go with the guy that has the best star potential, and then you round out the rest of the roster. That's why we're so upset about the Jalen Hurts pick in the second round.
Yeah,
there are so many glaring needs on the Eagles: linebacker, cornerback.
That's what I'm saying. I like. Wouldn't you want to take the best player though, defensively or like offensive line wise, or instead of because you do have a you do have a decent offense, with Dak back there and Ezekiel. Would you really focus on getting another wide receiver when you could? I mean, look at your defense this year.
There's rumors we might like trade Gallup, and we're not going to pay Gallup a lot because we're going to be paying CeeDee Lamb later on. Really? But like CeeDee Lamb's definitely better than Gallup. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. Next year, once Dak's back, if he's like looking okay, like our offense is definitely like the second best or like the top 3. Our defense is so bad. Just faults of the Joneses, of course, paying Jalen Smith. One of the defensive keys I have tonight, because Goddard's playing, is can these linebackers, specifically Jalen Smith, do anything covering Goddard? I mean, hopefully LVE does, Van Der Esch. But I mean, Jalen Smith is so bad that like you guys should just be torching us through the middle of the field if we're in zone. He is so slow. He is so bad. Sean Lee's back too. Like, what is he going to do? The same thing? He might be 40 years old.
I see the Eagles actually using Goddard as a blocker in this game more, and have Richard Rodgers catch the balls. He's been a lot hotter lately. So
yeah.
Either way, that's a huge mismatch you guys have. Goddard, Rodgers, just any of them. Our linebackers can't cover anything. They're Swiss cheese.
That's the one interesting thing you said there, is that Nate Gary's on the IR, and he is hands down the worst player in the NFL. I'm kind of upset. I'm kind of upset, Vinny Valls, that you're not going to be able to like watch this guy play. You guys are talking about it this week, and I was like, oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this linebacker battle. Just the 2 worst linebackers in the NFL going at it. But yeah. Lack of coverage from our linebackers is something we've been talking about for way too long for fans. Where should we go? I like the Richard Rodgers thing there, Brian. He's been low-key hot That chemistry with Carson Wentz is legit. It'll be interesting to see what Dallas Goedert and how that impacts the chemistry there. Ty goes, our linebackers cover. No, they do not. Let's go to stars of the game. Lead us off, Brian.
I'm going to go with Fletcher Cox on this one, actually. I think, like I said, I having 1.5 sacks so far this season, he needs to prove himself, and this is the game to do it. Not really prove himself, but just have a confidence, build that confidence going into a bye week. So I go with the defensive line. I think Cox and the defensive line get 5 sacks.
5 sacks. I love it. What about you, Vinny Volts?
Yeah, that's a safe pick. I'm gonna go 3 stars of the game. DeMarcus Lawrence is gonna be one of them for a strip sack he'll have tonight. Fingers crossed. Number 2, I'm gonna go with CeeDee Lamb, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, and then the big star, Gucci DiNucci, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a win, and a Cowboys win.
Oh my God!
No.
If CeeDee Lamb has 100 yards and what would you say, 2 scores?
Yeah, 100 yards, 2 scores.
That would be painful. That would be really painful.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would really be painful for Eagles fans. Right now for me, I'm torn between Boston Scott and Dallas Goedert. You look at Dallas Goedert the last 3 games versus the Dallas Cowboys: 9 catches, 91 yards, a touchdown; 4 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown; and then 4 catches and 44 yards for a touchdown. Could that trend continue? But for me, I got to roll with Boston Scott. I've been saying it since Tuesday night. Boston Scott played 69 yards of the snaps last week. He turned that into 15 touches, 93 total yards, and 1 touchdown against the Giants. When you look at the Dallas defense, 28th in opponent plays per game. I expect at least 20 touches from Boston Scott today. Right in that 100 to 120 total yards in this one. Probably 1 or 2 scores. I think Boston Scott in that screen game, during the wheel routes, I think we're going to see a lot of Boston Scott today. I guess we'll roll to game predictions. You're up, Vinny Volts.
All right, so I have a bunch of Vinny Volts bets tonight. We got Cowboys money line plus 425. Bet 100 to win $425. Cowboys team total over 16. Cowboys alternate line plus 4.5. Cowboys touchdowns over 2.5. Carson Wentz over 1 interception. Carson Wentz under 254.5 yards, and Gucci DiNucci over 214.5 yards.
Everything pro Cowboys. There it is.
I think we definitely cover 11.
Okay. There it is.
We most likely lose. I'm being very optimistic about Gucci DiNucci. But I do think we cover. I think it's close to what everyone thinks. It's like a Sunday night game, Eagles, Cowboys. It's not going to be some blowout. Everyone knows this.
Yeah.
I don't think the Eagles offense is that high powered to blow out the Cowboys either. But once again, I think Washington did it. So who knows?
We'll see. What about you, Joe? Or sorry, Brian.
No, you're good. I think Carson Wentz throws 4 touchdowns today. Boston Scott has a couple. I think the Eagles kill the Cowboys tonight. And can I give my score prediction?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I actually originally had them as 31-10, but I'm going to go with a score of 42 to 10.
42 to 10. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just think Carson Wentz has a great game. I don't think Rager's going to get as many catches. Coming back from injury, I don't see him. I think it's going to be Wentz, Holcomb, Wentz, Boston Scott. That's going to be primary, and then you got Wentz, Goddard, so or Richard Rodgers. But I just think the Eagles pounded on them, and Cowboys just they don't have anything with going on. So
I know. That's been like hitting me in the face, like an uppercut in the face all week long, and now all I can think about is Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz. Every time the game plan presents itself like it is right here.
If this is going to
happen, man, it never happens.
if this is going to be a consistent game, a good game for the Eagles, it's going to be a blowout. But knowing Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz, you just never know. You don't know if it's a bad defense or a bad offense or vice versa or whatever. So, but yeah, I want it to be a good, consistent game, good play calling. Yeah. Just one game. That's a good game.
One full game, because
we have one full game
from the Eagles all year long, is that they look great for a half and then they tank the other half.
Yeah.
Or like they play great in a quarter, then they cannot put together on both ends of the ball. That's been their MO for the last 2 years. So my game prediction is, like I said, all signs point to a dominant Eagles win, but I don't buy it. I have scenes in the back of my head of the Eagles getting burnt by terrible quarterbacks all the time. Ben DiNucci is going to be the next in line. Since who was that other guy? I'm drawing a blank of that other guy for the Vikings. I totally like Rob brought him up last Tuesday night, and I was like, yes, like that, like this happens. They're like, for whatever reason, this happens. So yeah, like I said, inconsistencies on both sides of the ball. Regardless, I'm going with the Eagles victory on this one. I see Eagles 27, Cowboys 20. Boston Scott will eventually be the difference in this one. I see several big plays from Boston Scott. And probably a couple turnovers. I'm hoping like maybe a couple interceptions. That would be really, really nice. I say we wrap it up. Brian, why don't you plug your YouTube channel one more time, man?
Yes. So come to the Joe Show. It's my YouTube channel. Once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will do a PS5 giveaway or an NFL jersey of your choice. So you choose which prize you want. So come to my channel and have a chance at winning.
All right. Vinny Volts, anything you want to plug or?
Yeah. So yeah, my Twitter, once again, down there at Vinny Volts. I do want to plug that everyone should go vote for the election on Tuesday.
Fantastic.
Already did.
Love it.
Nice. I did too.
All right. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Painted Lines YouTube channel. Party on Broad can be found on iTunes and Spotify. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Go Birds!
How about them Cowboys?
Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, Embiid just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles? Let me get a hell yeah!